Hey everybody, it's me, Undead Viking, here with another video review for you. This is going to be a pretty quick review because it is just a card game, and card games can sometimes, well, card games can be complex, don't get me wrong. They can have cards with tons and tons and tons of information on them. Where is it? Oh, here it is, yes. Like a game like Pax Porfiriana, like, you know, a game like that, super complex. It's all cards, but it's like tons and tons of information, things like that. Even Race for the Galaxy, for that matter. But I'm totally getting off topic here. The game that I'm reviewing today is Yardmaster. Yardmaster is a game that is in Kickstarter right now. It has been funded. I think there's a couple weeks left on the Kickstarter as I'm speaking at this moment. It is coming out by Crash Games. It is ultimately, it could be anything. So the theme that I'm going to tell you about really doesn't matter much. But the theme of the game is that each person is in charge of a train yard, and you are trying to make a train with a certain number of cargo, like train cars behind your engine, and the first person to get to a total number of points that is determined by the number of players wins the game. And it's like 20, 18, and 16, depending on if you're playing with 4, 3, or 2 people. But it isn't a game where you play like 12, 14 rounds and whoever's got the most points wins or anything like that. There's no set time limit. Theoretically, the game could go forever, but it can't, because eventually somebody's going to get that total number of points and they're going to win the game. That's what. But see, the thing is, the theme could be anything. You don't even have to have a theme, technically, because of the fact that when I show you the cards and everything like that, the whole thing is pretty interchangeable, and you could have just slapped whatever theme you wanted on the process. But for whatever reason, it is technically a train game. But anyway, so let me show you exactly how to play Yardmaster. It is not going to take a long time. This is going to be a pretty quick review, and then I'll tell you exactly why I dig the game and why I think, for all of its simplicity and cool little rule set, it has a lot of meat to the bone, if you will. All right, here we go. Okay, let's learn how to play Yardmaster. Okay, so this is what you have in pretty much in the game. You start with an engine card. What you'll be doing is you'll be placing cars, like from the rail car here, you'll be placing cars like this and placing them one by one behind your engine. In order to play your card, you have to be able to buy it, and I'll explain that in a little bit, but you also either have to match up the color of the car, or you have to match up the number. So you could then go like so. If you've played Uno, you know exactly what I'm talking about at this point. The game is played to a certain number of points. With 2 people, it's played to 20. With 3 people, it's played to 18. With 4 people, it's played to 16. And then you score the points immediately when you place a card down. And that's how you score points, and that's how you're going to try to win this game. So to begin the game, what happens is that each person will get 3 cargo cards that they'll place in their hand. You have a hand limit of 7, so if you ever end up with more than 7 cards in your hand, you have to discard immediately. And you'll also be placing 3 cards out into the yard. And these are the cards that are going to be available to purchase. So in this situation, we have a card, all ones, so that it's going to take 1 card of that color to purchase those particular cars. You also get these exchange tokens. Each person gets 1 randomly. If you have less than 4 people, the extras are put in the middle, because you are able to exchange the token that you have for one that somebody else has, which they have to do if you ask for it, is one of your actions, or from the middle. And what these do is they, like in this one, basically whatever color it is, you can exchange 2 cargo cards of that color for 1 of anything wild. So if, say, you had this, a 2 for 1, and you had 2 blue cards and you wanted to buy like this green one, you could say you could spend 2 blue and that would equal 1 green, and you'd buy that. So after you get your hand of cards like so, on your turn you get 2 actions unless you are the Yardmaster. The Yardmaster, when the game begins, whoever the first player is, the person to their right is the Yardmaster. So if you're and your play goes clockwise. So obviously then the last person will get then 3 actions instead of 2. After they've taken their actions, they hand this token to their right. So it kind of goes counterclockwise around the board, while the turn order goes clockwise around the board. On your turn, with your actions, you can either draw a card from the cargo deck, and you just add that to your hand, remembering the hand limit of 7. You can purchase a card that is in the middle, so like you can spend, like, say, this green one, and bam, and then and then you immediately replace that one. So there we go, another lot of ones out there. And so your next turn, like if you had another action, like if you were the Yardmaster, you drew, and then you could spend another like so, and add that to the thing in the middle. The other action is, as I said, you can replace the token that you have with one that somebody else has, or one that's in the middle. And that is it. That is the long and short of how the game works, and like as far as the actions are considered. There are some cargo cards that actually have little special abilities, bonus cards. Like this one is Sweep the Yard, where if you play this card, you can sweep, like you play that and you'd sweep all of the rail cars out of the middle, and you'd replace them with 3 new cards, like so. The only other thing that is important to note is that if you ever have a situation where you want to be able to like purchase something, like say I had 4 reds and I wanted to be able to buy that 4, you still can, even if you can't put it into your yard. It goes into like kind of like your shunting area if you're up on your engine knowledge. I'm up on my engine knowledge because of the fact that my son watches Thomas the Tank Engine constantly. But so you have a situation where that happens, and so it sits there and it waits. So later on, it doesn't have to be the same turn or anything like that. If you're able to purchase another red card like so, you can then immediately, without having to take an action, move any cards that might be in your shunting area, in like your yard, so to speak, and then put it into your line, like so. So other than that, other than remembering that if you are the Yardmaster, you get 3 actions, and you have to give this to the person on your right every time. Those 3 actions and that little bit, that's the long and short of the game. However, there's a lot of wrinkles, and there's a lot of things that go on while you play, because of the fact that basically what the Yardmaster is you can you're always trying to set yourself up for that one big turn, that one big moment where you get the 3 different actions, so you can actually do more, and like say buy this, exchange token. Like a lot of times what happens is you exchange your token, and then you can put together a couple of really good purchases that'll allow you to add cards that are not in your engine yet, but are waiting to be added, and things like that. And so you can have one big turn where you can change things around, and so on and so forth. There you go. That's how you play Yardmaster. It is not a very difficult game to learn how to play, but as I said, there are wrinkles to it, and there is meat to the bone. But let me tell you more about that in my conclusion right now. Choo-choo! I choose you. Okay, so yeah, okay, it's a train game, but regardless, there you go. That's how you play. You can probably teach this game in about 5 minutes, and if it wasn't for the fact that in the cargo cards that they have the the weird bonus cards, if it wasn't for the fact that those existed, this game would be really kind of like one of those weird, almost like zero-sum games, if you will. And that's probably a bad definition, but you know what I mean. It's like there's really no wrinkles to it. I mean, it's just trying to put yourself in the right position with the right cards at the right time to get the right things and add them to your train line. I mean, it isn't even like you have a situation where you can't do anything. I mean, unless you just simply have nothing that can buy what's out there. I mean, you can always just buy cars and put them down like in your yard, so to speak. And like so, I mean, the game like really doesn't punish you that much, for like making bad decisions or anything like that. It feels like even as long as you just have the right purchasing cards, you can always do something. So for that matter, by that thing, it's like I actually kind of liked the game as like a really good way to open up a gaming night, because there isn't any way, well, there's no way really to get bad blood going, because like I said, you can't really do things to punish people, but it's one of those things where it's very light, and but like I said, it's got, like I said in the introduction, it's got some meat to the bone. I mean, it has some interesting little decisions. It has, you know, you always feel like you just don't have enough actions to do what you want. I mean, so you're waiting for, you know, the Yardmaster token to come around to you, and that just fell off the table. You're waiting for the Yardmaster token to come around back to you, and you know, so you can kind of plot that as it you know, as it rolls. And that's a really, actually, that's like the cool thing I found about the game, was that you had this, you know, you, as always, you're you know, going clockwise. You know, it's like it's your turn, it's your turn, it's your turn, like that. But then you have this token that's going, you know, against the stream, and so you kind of have that token rolling around, and it, you know, it's hitting you at, like, so it's kind of just kind of odd. You know, it's like. And in a way, it's almost, it's you kind of forget about it, you know, and so that's the one thing about the game that you have to kind of remind yourself of, and remind yourself that you have to do it. But, you know, other than that, it's like the game is, like a buddy of mine said, this is kind of like Uno, and like in a way it is, and that's not a bad thing, because I mean, everybody's played Uno and had a good time. But I mean, because you're matching up the numbers or the colors, and matching up numbers and colors. Everybody knows how to do that, and that's why I really like the game, because it's easy enough that my almost 7-year-old daughter can play, but it's like not a simple game. I don't know, does that I hope that comes across, because you know, there's you actually have to think for yourself. You have to hold on to certain cards. You have to, you know, bargain to get the right 2-for-1 chip at the right time. Things like that. And they could have gone with such a much more simple game, but they just added just enough crunchiness, just enough like twisty little fun antics, if you will, to the game that kind of mess up your perfect plans when you have those. You think things are going together perfectly for you. That it elevates it to that point where, wow, you get done playing, and yeah, I mean, it's like, it was fast, it was furious, and it was like just thoroughly enjoyable, because it was just like, you have those wonderful, as I call them, aha moments where you're playing, and it's just like, and I pay 2, and I buy that card, and I'm able to put it here, and then I'm able to take these cards from my yard, and I get to add them to my train, and bam, I win the game. You know, it's like those little moments of playing the game that make the game fun, when everything kind of slaps together perfectly for you. And so for that reason, and for a lot of others that I mentioned, I encourage you, if you like cool little card games that like are fast to teach, but you know, have a lot of different layers and a lot of different fun aspects to it. If you're looking, especially if you're looking for like a nice like 2 to 4 player game, and it works really well with 2, 3, and 4 people, in my opinion. But if you're looking for a nice game, a nice card game that you can use to like open up your game session, or play something like over a lunch period or something like that, this is definitely a game I would go to the Kickstarter, I'd check it out, and if you think it's something you'd like to add to your collection, put your hard-earned money down, and then once it gets published, you'll definitely be able to play it at your leisure at that point. So, as always, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. I appreciate it greatly. If you have any questions or concerns, by all means, post those. I'm sure my good buddy Patrick Nickel, the Grand High Poobah of the Crash Games, will be more than happy to answer any questions if I'm unable to. But until next time, this was Undead Viking, this is my gaming dojo, and a la boom.